Yeah, I'm Sid. I'm a fifth year softball player at Wichita State, and I'm majoring in criminal justice.
So, I guess first, like as a fifth year senior, like you got to see college athletics pre NIL, and now you've jumped into all the NIL opportunities and everything it has to offer. So, how was that process like halfway through your college career with the NIL changes, and how has NIL made an impact on you so far?
Yeah, it's kind of been a crazy change. I think it's cool to be able to see athletes get to share their experiences through NIL deals and just share who they are as people. That's been the most fun part of with that I've had with NIL is just getting to be able to share who I am off the field as well as on the field.
For sure. And Wichita State has done a great job. They're an open doors partner, so I know that they've been pretty on top of education. So, what has Wichita State done in terms of supporting you with NIL resources and education?
Yeah, I mean, they partner with y'all, so that is a huge asset for us. I've learned so much through Open Doors and have used all the tools that it has to offer. But aside from that, we also have two collectives on campus that are partnered with the school, and one of them is specifically for female athletes. So it's really cool to have both of those work together, as well as the university being on board for both, and really just wanting us to reach our full potential with NIL. I think it's really cool because, especially our Kevin Saul, he's our athletic director. He loves everything I do. He asks so many questions because he wants to learn about it too, but he supports me in everything I do. So it's been really cool.
That's great to hear. We love when like athletic departments are really fully bought into NIL and encouraging athletes like that. And I think Wichita State has definitely gone above and beyond, especially in the collective space with a female specific collective. We haven't seen that a ton of different places. So it's cool that the community is bought in. And that kind of leads to the next question too. Like how have you leaned into your local community like when it's come to NIL activities? I know you've done a couple of local deals, so what has that been like?
Yeah, I think it's really cool because through Open Doors, like fans can reach out to me with deals. So I've done like paintings and stuff, like commission paintings through Open Doors with the fans. So that's been really cool. And then also just connecting and doing shout out videos for young fans for their birthdays and stuff. That has been fun. And then I've also been able to do youth camps in the community for softball through NIL, which is really fun because I can use my name and stuff. So Wichita is a really good community for supporting sports and supporting our athletes. So I've really leaned in that to open up the world of NIL through them.
Perfect. And I guess too, like going into that, I know that you've done quite a few fan deals through Open Doors, and obviously Wichita State is an Open Doors partner. But how has Open Doors so far helped you in this NIL journey?
Yeah, Open Doors has been huge for me, especially because y'all put opportunities on there already that I would have never known were available to me. Besides that, I use the master classes to learn things, to sharpen my knowledge. If I have a question that maybe, because I feel like I'm like one of the most knowledgeable NIL people on my campus. So if I have questions, maybe other people on campus don't know, I can go to Open Doors and ask those questions and get the resources that I need.
That's awesome. And I'm glad that you've enjoyed the master class so far.
Yeah.
It's a resource that we try to push a lot, and I don't think every student athlete has been fully bought into it yet. So I don't know, do you have like a favorite master class episode that or
Yeah.
lesson I guess that you've seen
Yeah,
so far?
I actually knew Christy Dosh before she did the masterclass, so I always love learning from her. She's the first person that I ever reached out to about NIL, so she is just such a good resource to learn anything, even with like legal side, because she is an attorney. So it's really cool to talk to her.
Yeah, for sure. She's great. I've followed her on Twitter for a really long time, and I was glad that she was able to participate in the master class. So
Yeah, she's
definitely
awesome.
a good resource. I guess too, like going back, I know that you're pretty experienced with NIL at this point, but what was your first NIL deal, and what were kind of like that experience and maybe like the emotions that came with it?
Yeah, I believe my first NIL deal was with Homegrown, which I've done several deals with. They're a local a daytime eatery here, and I eat breakfast there all the time. But they asked me and two of my other teammates to do a commercial for them. And I was so nervous and so scared to do it. Like, it was a full set. We were there. They did our makeup. We were rolling. I had lines. And that was honestly so scary, but it was also the best experience because I learned so much about it.
And that actually leads perfectly into my next question as well. Like, what life skills have you learned from NIL and doing these opportunities? You said you're a fifth year. Like, how will these play into like your career maybe after softball?
Yeah, the biggest thing has definitely been making connections and learning how to talk to different types of people. I mean, I'm talking to like head business owners and like you're awesome. You're a social media manager, so you know more about the social media side. And then I talked to my coaches about it. So I know going in, like, public speaking was terrifying for me. I wanted no part in it. I honestly should have taken classes for my interviews because I was just terrified. But NIL has really opened that up for me, and it's taught me how to talk to people and taught me how to not be nervous talking to new people.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call out. Like, a lot of athletes don't necessarily go through formal media training, and I know some
Yeah.
departments are a lot better at that than other departments, and I know some, I don't know, I think some student athletes are like required to take a class, or some athletes are, their major requires them to take a class. So I think that's a good piece of advice, and I think really like NIL in general, just the general consensus that I've gotten so far is that like student athletes have really had to get out of their comfort zone and kind of put themselves out
Yeah.
there through that. So I think that's what this whole series is kind of like reinforcing is sometimes you got to get a little bit uncomfortable to take that first step with
Yeah.
NIL.
Absolutely.
Like I know that you've done quite a few NIL deals, but if you could do an NIL deal with like any brand, who would it be?
I think that I would choose Adidas because I wear all of their activewear. I have all their shoes. I just think that would be a really cool brand deal because they always do a great job with NIL.
Yeah, they've definitely been very on top of their game so far.
Absolutely.
And kind of going off that too, like if you received $1,000 from an NIL deal, like how would you spend that money?
I spend most of my money on like groceries and bills, so I would say groceries and then I would save the rest.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. I don't know, I would say like groceries or tuition. Like I think a lot of people don't realize like how much student athletes eat in particular,
Yes.
and I'm like, kids are like, oh, I don't know like what brands I should reach out to. I'm like, try to get free food if you can. Like it'll help your grocery bill.
Yes. And they're
Like I don't know,
expensive.
yeah, we've seen some like grocery stores tap into the NIL space, which I think is really cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
What is
insane.
it?
Like
Is
I
it
was,
in Omaha that those athletes have one of their grocery stores, I
I
think?
think so. The High V one,
Yes, that one's really cool.
yeah, that one's been fun to see so far, and they've done a really great job with that.
Yeah.
But I guess too, like you said, you're a leader in NIL, like on your campus. Like, what are some questions that other student athletes have come and asked you?
A lot of student athletes have asked me how to reach out to brands or how to find brands because they just really don't know. I think a lot of them are nervous to just like reach out and fail. And I mean, I've reached out to a bunch of people and a bunch of people have answered and a bunch of people haven't. And that's what's great about Open Doors is that like you guys kind of get that out of the way. Like if you don't receive a response, you know it's no, but if you do, it's right there on site. So I think that's the biggest thing is just being nervous about reaching out and being rejected. But that's kind of part of it.
Yeah, for sure. I think too, like, I don't know, I always have to, like, when we're talking to athletes, it's trying to, like, get them to think, like, the brand too. It's like certain brands are going to promote certain things, like,
Right.
throughout the year, different times. So trying to thinking it from a brand standpoint, I think has really helped. I don't know, a
Absolutely.
lot of athletes understand, like, oh, like, yeah, maybe that brand isn't doing a campaign at this time, or they're more likely to be doing a campaign around this event or activity or something
Right.
like that. Yeah, I
Absolutely.
think getting rejected is definitely part of it. And I don't know, I think it's similar too, like when you apply for jobs after graduation,
Yeah.
like you go through the same process where you're going to get interviews or you're not going to get interviews. But it's kind of been interesting to see how like NIL like impacts towards your career and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I agree.